Welcome back, everybody, to the Sammys and Beer podcast, live here on this week from Christmas Eve, Wednesday. We appreciate y'all so much for stopping by. We apologize for the inconvenience. We actually do not have our video on today as Thomas's computer is breaking, just like his spirit.
Yep.
And so yeah, well, you will just be soothed by the sweet caressing sound of our voices this evening.
Man, it's not breaking, it's broken. My spirit's broken, the computer's broken, my phone's broken, the car was broken. Fix the car. You know what's about to break today?
What?
My liver. Let's go. A brand new bottle of tequila.
I thought you were done doing whiskey.
Good thing
Or
it's not
liquor.
whiskey. I actually got it so I could make margaritas, but I had neither the time nor the lime to make margaritas. Let's do it. And I got
Fair enough. I've got a shot of Doughball whiskey, which is a cookie dough whiskey, which, if memory serves, is not very good.
That sounds disgusting.
Huh?
That sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it doesn't sound the best, but it was from my wife as part of my advent calendar, so...
Well, that makes it better, because that's really sweet. That lady, she likes you.
Sometimes.
One would even say she might have a crush on you.
Sometimes.
Oh, alright. Would you like to go first? Would you like me to go first? What's the plan here, Stan?
It doesn't matter to me. If you sound like you need a shot more than I do, so go right ahead, sir.
I definitely need a shot, but take a shot.
Ooh.
Actually, I have a grievance.
A grievance.
I have a grievance. A gripe, so to speak.
Gripe? Is it a gripe or is it a grievance?
Is there a difference?
There is.
What?
A gripe is just you complaining about something. A grievance is something that you are addressing with a specific area or person or place.
A gripe, then.
Okay.
A gripe, I think. Or maybe, I don't know. Anyways, the commissary on base, which is our...
This is going to be a grievance.
It's our supermarket. Right?
Okay.
It's how we get groceries when you live on base. Usually pretty fucking great. Prices are actually cheaper than off base right now because the economy. Awesome. Cool. Amazing. Spectacular. Growing up, I used to be a commissary bagger, which is literally like, Walmart or H-E-B, the person that stands at the end of the scanner and helps bag your groceries. Takes you, except in commissary, they take them to your car with you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of us are familiar with what a bagger is.
All right, so anyways,
at a grocery store. Like,
that job,
I'm surprised that you went through and explained that much on what a bagger is.
That job used to
I've got a gripe.
That job used to be for dependents of like the teenagers or kids of active duty parents or whatever in the area. They're like, hey, they need a job, right? Because you only get paid in tips. You don't get paid a salary or a wage. You only get paid in tips. And for the past few years, every single bagger that I've had has been an like elderly Filipino lady. And it's like they've like fucking ingrained themselves into the being a bagger, and no one else is getting hired on to be a bagger. And it's super frustrating because they're really mean and frail and like not very helpful.
Is it the same elderly lady?
No, it's like a group of them. They're like a fucking hive mind.
Okay.
And it's like at all the bases. It's ridiculous.
Are you for sure that they're Filipino?
Mostly, like 75% sure.
Okay.
And it's just like that's not what that job was for. You know what I mean? I'm frustrated with that.
But they don't get paid at all? Like it's only tips?
Only tips. So I purposefully don't get my shit scanned. I do, no matter how much groceries I have, I scan everything myself because, one, I don't have cash. But two, is like I just don't want to support it. I just don't.
Fair enough.
So
I don't know why. I don't know what you have against Filipino women trying to make a living in this world.
You can't make a living doing that. It's just taking the jobs from like teenagers that live on base that would be like that's what it's for.
That sounds like a terrible job anyway. Like, how is the grocery store having them there and not paying them other than allowing customers to tip them?
Just how they be doing it, you know?
That's against the law.
I don't think so.
100% it is against the law for to have an employee that does not get paid.
I'm pretty sure that they only get paid in tips, so I don't know what to tell you.
Even
Anyways,
waitresses get hourly wage.
shop at your local commissary, everybody. It's worth it.
Nobody's allowed to shop at commissary except military people, and that's like
Cheers.
1% of the population.
Oh, I'm gonna feel that later. Yes, brother. I don't think I'll do more than 2 shots though, because I'll just fall asleep.
All right. So my shot is going to go out to. We got kind of our first, I wouldn't say decent snow. We got a light dusting of snow, but in this part of the country, we have snow plows that have to work pretty regularly. This goes out to the gentlemen that have to run those snow plows because there are a lot of fucking hours that you have to put in when it snows. And cheers to you, because that's got to be rough.
That's an unsung hero's job for sure. I remember growing up, we had this guy named Gabe, unrelated, different Gabe, although he was short, and had a Jeep. He got a snowplow installed to his Jeep and would go around before like the trucks would go out and plow people's driveways with it.
Yeah.
I always thought that was like really fucking cool of him. I don't know. Just like this, it was in high school. He was like 17 and he just drove around. And if somebody tried to tip him, he said no, thank you.
That's really hard on your vehicle.
Is it?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of weight and a lot of pushing, and yeah,
Yeah, he did it for. I mean, I only knew him for the year, but yeah, he did it for a year straight.
yeah.
Just went out there, especially like elderly people, elderly couples and stuff. He would like go there specifically and like finish shoveling out their stuff.
So here's one for you, more of a an "Am I the asshole"
Oh,
type
I'm
situation.
here for it.
So I have an elderly neighbor.
Okay.
Um, Her husband passed away 10 years ago.
Damn. Me mama.
Um, and she lives at home. Her daughter comes and visit her. She's got a son that comes over and helps with stuff. They both live in town. Um, and when it's like super deep snow and like I have to get the snow blower out, I'll usually try to go through and at least do the sidewalk for her. She doesn't drive, so I'm
Okay.
usually not too worried about doing the driveway. Sometimes I will.
Okay.
Um,
This sounds like you're not an asshole specifically. Like you're setting yourself up.
well, I mean, I try to, but then like she then comes out after I do it and like goes through and like scrapes down and like spends hours out there scraping all the snow, like every flake of snow off of the sidewalk.
Well,
And she's like, "Oh, I just love being out here, blah blah blah." And like she does the same with her yard. Like I offered to have my kids mow for her, and like she had to borrow my mower because her mower wasn't working one time. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." I was like, "I can have the boys come over and mow for you." She's like, "Oh no no no, I like doing it. I like getting out and getting the exercise." And I'm like, "Okay, well that's cool." And then after she borrowed my mower because hers wasn't working, she sent me a card with money in it, which I was like, "I don't want your money." Like,
just put it in her mailbox.
but so now, like, we got, like I said, a dusting of snow, maybe an inch, and I walked over to her property, did up to her line, but I didn't go over and snow and shovel hers for her. Am I being an asshole with that?
No, if it's not a lot of snow, I wouldn't say you are.
Yeah. I mean, I
If
can
it
get,
was like a foot of snow, you'd be kind of a dick.
yeah, if I had to get my snowblower out, yeah, I'll just walk down and do her sidewalk for sure for her.
Yeah, but if it's just a dusting, that's not asshole
Yeah.
territory. She
Okay.
clearly gets enjoyment out of it. She clearly doesn't have a lot going on for her. I mean, which is fair, right?
Yeah.
So she's just taking her time. Get away, get away. Um, yeah, she's just enjoying herself. Fuck off, cat.
Who really enjoys shoveling?
Old people who have literally nothing else to do.
Uh,
Watch, it's gonna
I know.
be.
I know I don't.
My grandpa loves cutting his grass. He doesn't
My,
even fill a bag anymore.
my grandpa used to as well. Every Saturday, he'd spend 3-4 hours mowing.
Yeah, just like getting the lines right, putting sand. Like he's very particular about his grass, and it's just. And I talked to him. It's because he's fucking bored. It's
Yeah.
something for him to do that's not playing solitaire on his computer or watching the news. So
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, Gramps. Whenever I give him something to do, he is never more happy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. For my sister's wedding, we wanted this. There's this well that my mom used for her quinceañera and her wedding, and I used for my sister's quinceañera. And it's just like this little well that sits like on a table, and you put like well wishes in it, whatever. It's very Mexican, I guess. I don't know, but it's been tore up through the years, right? Like it's been through it, and so we asked him to fix it, and he spent like days on it. It wasn't days worth of work for sure, but he just enjoyed himself, had a good time.
Yeah.
It just he's bored. He's bored as shit.
That happens.
He installed my old winch for my Jeep into the roof of his shop, and it works as like a pulley system to get things to the top. So he has to do zero work on lifting things to the
Smart.
top of his shop. Oh, he's a fucking brilliant man. He's just bored. What do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, for us, when we get old, we're gonna be the old people playing video games.
Maybe.
Probably. I know I am. And so that's what we're gonna do when we get old. But for them, they didn't. You know,
Maybe video games will be boring for you by that time.
it'll never be boring for me. They're probably gonna be. I won't get the Neuralink, obviously. You know, because video games will be
Why
playing
not?
in your mind. I don't want the government controlling my brain.
The government already controls your brain.
Yeah, but not like
Mm,
that bad yet.
mm, not that you know of.
If they controlled my brain, Matt, then I would be super okay with them putting a chip in it, and I'm not.
Maybe they don't want you to be deprogrammed from what they've taught you, and that's what the chip's going to do. So they've taught you to fear the chip.
No, I make way too many 9/11 jokes to be a puppet of the government.
Mm,
Like
like,
an uncomfortable, at least
have
once a week.
have you ever thought of like how they say is it China and North Korea are like super censored and you can't get any information out of them
Yeah,
because the government. What if it's actually the other way around?
don't you do
And
this?
those are the free places, and they're trying to free us
Don't you do this?
from all of the corruption, and we can't.
Yeah, but they're not eating. Like,
Do you, how do you know if all the information that you get is from the
I
government?
guess that's. No, I get my information from Australia.
How do you know Australia's not part of it? Wouldn't that make perfect sense?
No,
How would it not?
because that's too much. That's too much work. Too much work. Cracks would fall
Was it
through.
too much work?
It's too much work.
I don't think it is.
Back me up, Tony. Cat's
Who's Tony?
I got a cat with me in here. His name's Tony. Tony Baloney. No, you're wrong. Absolutely, because America's the best country in the world. Red, white, and blue. These colors don't run, bitch.
Just saying.
I mean, it's
What
an
if?
interesting thought process. Write a book about it. You know.
Just saying. What if?
Oh boy. Oh, Bubbles is gonna be so mad at us for starting late.
Why?
He's actually gonna play games today.
Oh, well, we can still end at 10.
Okay. We'll see. We'll check his temperature because he's very well could be asleep already.
Yes. Um, do we want to talk about what we were planning to talk about?
Start it.
Start it?
Yes.
because you don't remember.
Yep.
We were going to discuss our relationships with our fathers.
Oh shit! Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I've never had such two opposing experiences before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are very differing experiences of life.
Yeah, opposing. That's what I said.
I
Uh,
wouldn't I wouldn't necessarily call it opposing, but sure.
it's. I'm. Yeah. No.
If
Yeah.
anything, if anything, opposing would be Tyler because he had two moms.
It's honestly super true.
So,
Yeah. Okay. So that's. I mean, it's kind of hard to start, but let's dive
well,
into
that's
it.
why you said start it. And I'm like, how do you start this?
Okay. All right. Cool. So I'm gonna start mine off with saying something that probably all dads hope that their sons say when they're about to be 30. You know, when you're growing up and your dad's like your hero.
Yep.
I never grew out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like to this day, I need anything. I need advice. Anything at all. We fight like fucking cats and dogs constantly, but I trust my dad without question. If he looked me in the eyes and says, "Thomas, you need to do this right now," I'd be like, "Okay, no question, no hesitation."
Do you find that a daunting thing to live up to then when you have kids?
Absolutely, I'm fucking terrified. Like, and he wasn't a super dad by any means. You know what I mean? He fucked up. We all fuck up. He fucked up. But the thing with my dad is he would fuck up, he would call himself out, and he'd apologize for it.
Like for what? Can you give like an example of this?
He totally forgot about one of my soccer games, and he didn't show up. And I called him when the game was over. I'm like, "Hey, can you come pick me up for my game?" And it was like a thing, like he promised to go, blah blah blah. And like he just totally forgot, so he came and picked me up. And he like in the car, he was like, "I'm so sorry. I have no excuse. I completely forgot. I hope you can forgive me. This is my bad." And as like a teenager, I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, Dad." But as an adult, I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like he always taught me to hold myself accountable by holding himself accountable.
Well, that and I mean, it was a JV soccer game, so who really fucking
I was
cares?
on varsity actually. I was never put on JV. I was good enough. I was brown enough to be on varsity always.
You had all of them fooled, didn't you?
I did. Nah, I wasn't great at soccer, but I was the hardest working motherfucker on the field. Just ran a whole lot. It's the autism. But yeah, no, he led by example constantly. He'd fuck up. He'd own up to it. He'd like yell at us in anger because he was tired, and then like we'd run off because he was upset and it's scary, big ass man. He'd come in later.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Sorry, I was upset. Shouldn't have yelled at you. Let's go get ice cream." Like he just consistently owned up to whatever he did that was wrong. So it made whatever he did that was wrong okay. Now, granted, he like never beat me, so like he never like really fucked up, you know. But and he let me watch American Pie when I was 10. That was fucking awesome. That's my
Fair
first
enough.
pair of digital boobies. Uncensored, baby. Yeah, I don't know. Old man just he couldn't show up, right? He deployed a lot and worked for the military, right? But when he could show up, he typically always did. That was a big thing too.
As you gave an example of him not showing up.
Yeah, well, but he owned up to the mistake. Like
Yeah,
he
no,
went to every other fucking game that year. Like he felt
yeah,
bad. But as a teenager, I didn't give a shit. I wasn't worried about him watching me. I was worried about the girls.
fair enough.
Yeah, my dad has always set a great example. Even now, even when he's getting crockety and old and set in his ways and a little racist, he still sets
Who's
a
he,
good example.
who's he racist towards?
Mexicans.
Like other Mexicans? That's not. You can't be racist against your own
I
people.
mean, you kind of can be, but yeah, no, 100% racist against
Uh,
other Mexicans.
so,
Uh,
well, okay. So, does he not like? Does he dislike Mexicans that come from Mexico?
no,
or does he dislike like even people in your area that are Texans and are
It's
just of brown skin?
it's more of he dislikes people who behave in a ghetto fashion.
Okay.
That would be where the line is drawn. Like if
So then it's not more that he dislikes Mexicans, it's that dislikes ghetto people.
yeah, he holds our race to a higher standard, and so like when because he's in charge of a lot of like pilots and stuff, and like whenever a new pilot graduate comes in and he's Mexican, my dad's like super proud. He's like, yeah, look at that, represent, you know. But when we're out, and there's a bunch of Mexicans acting a fool, he'll say something loudly. It's so great.
Gonna get himself shanked.
He's had a gun pulled on him in traffic before.
I, for some reason, don't doubt that. After what you sent me last week,
Yeah, he's a bit of a man's man.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, old man set the example. He never let us wrestle my sister or treat her
that's
roughly in any way. I've heard stories of people like, "Oh yeah, I wrestled with my sister all the time," or I'd punch my sister or do this or that. Like I never did any of that.
well, punch is a little bit different than wrestling.
But any sort of physicality towards my sister was just not allowed.
Okay.
Period. So people have like all these memories of doing that. And I'm like, no.
I'm a little, I don't know, I'm indifferent on that because there's some girls that like wrestling. I mean, wrestling and flag football are one of the fastest growing girl sports in the country right
Oh, I'm
now.
not saying he was right. I just this is just something that he did.
I'm not saying I disagree with him either. Like having your brothers know, I mean, it's teaching you about your sister, but it's also teaching you about women in general, and
Yeah. Yes.
then she was his baby girl, so
Oh yeah. Man, he wept like a baby at her wedding. It was awesome.
oh, I bet
Oh, whew. The only time I got misty-eyed was anything revolving around my future brother-in-law.
he is your brother-in-law now, not
Oh
future.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, my brother-in-law. Sorry, yeah. Um,
You can call him your Bill.
ooh, I can call him my Bill. I'm at their house right now. Actually, I'm on his computer.
Why?
They went to Pennsylvania to see his family. They couldn't come to the wedding. His mom's sick, so
Oh, yeah.
they're spending some time up there with them. So I'm watching cats, dogs, and everything in between. There's a raccoon, a fucking raccoon. I get it on the ring camera every now and then, fucking in the front yard.
Noise.
He's fucking
Do you,
fat too.
do you feed it?
I'm gonna start putting out cat food.
You should.
I'm gonna tame him.
Watch him eat it with his hands like
His
a
little fucking
human.
grubby grabbers.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited. Tell me about your dad though, Matt.
So mine was a little bit different story. Um, and not to say, looking back at, obviously at a certain point in relationships, at a certain point in your life, you realize that some relationships aren't as they should be. Um, which I think we all do. Like what you grew up with and what you think is normal. Like at certain points, you find out like some things aren't normal, some things are. And one big thing that I realized as I grew up and got older was that, like, when you did stuff with your dad, or like your dad came to your games and stuff, they were all about you at that point, correct?
Yeah, always.
My dad somehow found a way to make things all about him.
Mm, okay, okay.
Like my whole life, mainly like everything, like we did our things and had our stuff going on, but things were always that always just somehow turned back to something going on with him. Um, he's he's struggled in his life to. I can't tell you how many jobs he got fired from or quit because his boss was a dickhead. And after, even as a kid, after about the sixth or seventh one, I was like, is the boss a dickhead again, or are you a dickhead?
Yeah, where's the common denominator here?
You know? Especially because later on, like when I was in high school, he started working with a buddy of mine's dad, and his dad was a super nice guy, always really nice to me. And when they first started working together, oh yeah, da da da, and then after a while, he just kind of quit saying anything, which was his polite way of not talking shit.
Yeah, fair.
Um, so respect to him for that. But it was just one of those things that you kind of look back on now, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, you know. And so it was a lot of little stuff like that. Um, there was, oh, I don't, I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that, and he was fucking crazy too.
Crazy
He
how?
had, he had a fucking temper.
Okay.
Um, and for some reason, it was always directed at my brother as well,
Do you
who was
think
older than me.
do you think your brother and your dad are similar and that might be why?
No,
Oh,
no,
nuts.
nope. Um, well, we found out when I was 30 that my brother and I do not share the same dad. So
Oh,
that might have been part of the reason.
that could definitely be part of it.
But like when my older brother had gotten old enough to drive, he had gotten in a couple accidents driving this car that he had been allowed to use.
Okay.
And uh, a prime example of the terrible things that my father did, we didn't have insurance on the car. And so he went and got insurance at one point because he got a ticket and then photocopied it and changed the date on the insurance to take to court.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's fraud.
Yeah, 100%. But this was back in the 90s and people didn't know to check that kind of stuff.
I mean, they did that fucking movie with God, the guy from the Titanic came out. What movie was
Catch
that?
me if you can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
that was when he was cashing millions and million dollars in checks. They weren't worried about somebody with no insurance ticket.
Fair.
So, but anyway, my brother was in the process of fixing up said vehicle, and he blew a gasket. They actually ended up getting into a physical altercation, which my father started with my older brother.
Okay. Sure.
Um,
Go on.
and my brother left and went and got a sledgehammer and broke out all the headlights and taillights that my brother had replaced and put a hole through the windshield.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
My
So,
dad. Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
um, so yeah, it was a definitely a little bit different of a relationship.
I would. I would say so. Um.
But like I said, just it was more so like I can understand people have tempers, people, lose their shit, things happen. One, I never agree with taking physical actions against a child, but
Oh, absolutely not.
the thing I kind of came to realize later on where the biggest difference was like it seems like, and maybe I'm wrong with you and your dad, but your dad was there to support you with what you wanted to do and allowed you to do the things that you wanted. For my dad and me, if we wanted to interact, I had to go do what he wanted to do.
Well, okay. So that's the thing, though. The hobbies that I had made my dad uncomfortable. So a lot of them he wouldn't necessarily fuck with. I did have to do things that he liked to get his attention, like sports, but it didn't have to necessarily be sports that he liked. He just had to have a little bit of common ground.
Which, yeah, I can understand.
The only thing that is different on is weirdly enough Halo 3.
There you go.
When I was a kid, I got like this was Xbox Live peak, right? Right when it was
Yep.
like blowing up, and I was on it all the time. My brothers were on it all the time, and my dad's like, "Okay, what's the big deal?" And he started playing with us, and that man surpassed all of us, right? He became a general in Halo 3, which I don't know if you know, it's a big deal, especially back then. Like that was tough.
Hmm.
You had to
Hmm.
be really fucking good. So he did it, and then my mom got mad at him because he was playing too many video games. So he put the controller down and he never picked it up again.
Yeah.
But those were some glory days. I'll tell you what. But yeah, I mean, I had to we had to find a common ground. Like anime, he'll never ever watch anime. Not his
No.
thing. You know,
I bet he tried with you once, though.
Dragon Ball Z. Even then, he didn't like it.
Yeah, but he tried.
He always at least tried. Uh,
Like, I can remember my brother coming back from, he was in Scouts and really wanted to do this camping trip. And they went out, did this camping trip, and my brother came back just pissed off. And I'm like, what happened? What's going on? Obviously, I was a kid.
mhm.
But apparently, they got there, they showed up extremely late because my dad had other things going on, which I don't even think he was probably working at the time. But let's say he was and had work. But then they got there and like they got up the next morning to go hiking or something. He slept in the tent till like noon and then got up and just kind of did whatever he wanted.
Hmm,
It was just it was weird selfish things like that.
that is weird. That's really
So,
weird.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
He is the main character in his story. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I
And we
mean,
are all sub characters.
it's as much as I hate to say the word, it is textbook narcissism. Like
You want to know the funniest thing is he has sent me articles saying that other people in his life are narcissists.
that's what a narcissist will do.
He actually sent me an envelope, sent me a letter in the mail with YouTube links with somebody explaining narcissism. Like printed off YouTube links.
Jesus
It was the
Christ.
it was the funniest fucking shit I'd ever seen. I got a letter in the mail
From your dad
from my dad.
about narcissism.
Yep. Yeah. Like this is a whole rabbit hole that I don't necessarily want to go down.
Yeah,
But
we won't make you.
no.
You know. Uh, but Jesus Christ, that's a lot.
Yeah. And just if anybody is actually listening out there, I haven't spoken to my father in like 6 or 7 years because he screamed at my 80-year-old grandma at my son's second birthday and told her to get the fuck out.
Oop, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Can't blame you, buddy. Cannot blame you.
So,
I think if anyone screamed at my grandma, they'd get shot by my grandma.
well,
But Carmen used to be a gangster, so we don't have to get into that. She ran the
she is
streets.
gangster.
She used to be.
You
She
know,
settled
I
down.
I will say I might actually get to meet your father and really assess if he is the legend you claim he is to be.
You will one day meet my father, and you'll be like, he.
Oh, well, I've been invited to your brother's wedding, so I'll probably come
Oh,
down for that.
you have?
Yeah, he texted me and said, "Hey, will you come?" And I said, "For sure." He
When
goes,
is
"Well, you
it?
better."
He hasn't fucking told me anything.
Well, he hasn't set a date, but he said expect an invitation in the mail.
God. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm just saying.
All right. Yeah, you'll meet Dad. I mean, they've heard all about you. You're the middle-aged white man that's one of my best friends.
Well, and your wife, your mom, and my wife, I think maybe still talk about books together.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
I don't know, but
We're at such a weird age gap, though, Matt, because my parents are in their 50s
yeah.
and you're in your 40s.
Hmm.
And I'm
And
in
you're
my
in your
30s.
30s.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
just the median in between. Like,
Yeah. Like, I'm the best of both worlds. I can be that common denominator between you and your dad.
I mean, yeah. Hey, look, I got his advice and I kind of grew up a little bit, and I'm following his advice. So him and I have been on a back to
Eh,
back.
are you, though?
Yeah.
Like, Do you still live under his roof?
Yep,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
but that's his preference, honestly. That's a whole
Well,
side note,
it's
though.
always going to be his preference. Like he is going to want to spend that selfishly, that he is going to want to spend as much time with you as humanly possible. But at the exact same time, he knows you need to grow up and be a man because you need to give him grandchildren that he can now have McDonald's money for, that he have never had McDonald's money for you with.
Uh, Fun fact. He always. So my dad and I are very similar, and you'll come to realize that when you meet him in person too. There was a period of time where that motherfucker always had McDonald's money, and that's because he was away from my mom, and we got the fucking steak, bagel, egg, and cheese sandwiches from McDonald's every morning for breakfast on my way to school, and a Mountain Dew.
Ooh,
No, dude, it was awesome. Oh, those are good times.
that sounds like good times.
I mean, I love my dad, and the really cool thing, I think the best thing out of all of this is I can say that I love my dad, and I know that he knows that I love him, and vice versa.
I would hope so.
But for a lot of people, that's not a thing. For a lot of
Well,
people, their dads will tell them they love them like 10 times total their whole lives.
no.
Every time I call my
I,
dad, he says it when he hangs up.
I'm pretty sure I said to my oldest son tonight. You know what? You want to know what I said to my oldest son tonight?
What'd you say?
He was sitting. I was getting ready to do the podcast, and I walked out and I said, "Hey, you want to know something really cool?" He goes, "Yeah, what?" I was all excited, and then I kind of felt bad because all I had to tell him was, I said, "No matter what you ever do in life, I'm always going to be proud of you, and I'm always going to love you."
Except for meth. Should have prefaced that.
He, you know him. I don't have to worry about him doing meth.
No, you don't. You don't. Maybe
He did.
Adderall in college, but besides that,
I'd be even surprised if he did that.
I don't know. I don't know. He's gonna be a drinker though.
Maybe.
He's gonna be a beer drinker, guaranteed.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know. He's kind of gotten really into wrestling, and
Yeah.
says he wants to wrestle in college.
Oof. I could see it. That kid's going places.
I don't know.
Both of them are, honestly.
Yeah.
And I don't say that because I'm your friend. I say that because I like met them and interacted with them. Those kids got it going on. It's actually pretty cool. Because I have met
All
some of
right.
my friends' kids, and they do not have it going on. Holy shit! It's like, oof, you're gonna be directing traffic one day, Bucko.
You know, it's actually weird. We're really close. We're at time, but it's really weird. I was thinking about that today because there's some kids I know that I just look and I'm like, God, don't you don't have a future at this point, and like nobody's telling you otherwise. Like you don't have somebody directing you. Like we have a neighbor girl who at this point is quote unquote homeschooled at 16.
Oh no.
She doesn't have a job, and I'm just like, you just as of right now, like you are a teen mom just waiting to happen. Like
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah, and that's
Like
probably what's gonna happen, realistically.
and your life is going to be so much more difficult. And I'm not even saying you need to get out and go to college, but there are so many things that you could be doing, and you're just doing nothing at this point. You are literally doing nothing. And that's just, that's not a way to live life.
But she doesn't know any better,
Exactly. And
and
nobody's
nobody's
helping
helping
her.
her. Yeah.
And, and it was it was very similar to me. Like, I, I mean, obviously everybody thinks they have a lot more potential, but I think I could have done a lot better in life had I had people there to guide me in different directions and be like, hey, you're kind of fucking up right now. Like, maybe you should reconsider this.
See, and that's the thing too, though. Like a lot of people, myself included, are envious of where you are in life right now.
Well, there's how does the Miley Cyrus song. There's always going to be another mountain.
Yeah.
There's always going to be another hill to climb.
Oh, which my hill to climb, March 20th, I go to Ohio for a little bit.
There's no hills in Ohio.
There's one.
There's not.
That's the old instructor school for my job. So
Oh.
I got to do Sammy's and beer from a hotel room in the fucking nowhere, Ohio. But
Well, hopefully you'll have a fucking camera that works.
I will. Just gotta fucking
Dear
figure
sweet
out.
lord, I've got like fucking 9 cameras sitting around my
Send me,
house.
send me a fuck. Oh my god! Before we go, I took the hot dog toaster to work.
Hmm.
It has been seeing constant use since I put it on the counter at work.
Nice.
Not even just for me. Everyone in the office now has hot dogs. There are like 7 different brands of wiener in the fridge. So many condiments and so many buns.
Have you put like do I get recognition for this, or is this just like you are like the hot dog guy now because of
I
me?
think I'm the hot dog guy.
Because of me.
Because people were like, "Hey, do you mind if I use the toaster?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't care. Let anyone know. They can just use it." And they're geeking out over this
Just
fucking hot
let
dog toaster.
everybody just let everybody know they can put their wieners in there.
It burns the bread. It does burn the bread.
Well, who really wants a toasted bun with a hot dog?
Honestly, yeah. The hot dogs need 2 cycles. The bread needs one. You do one bread cycle, you pull it out. It's nice and warm, not toasted, just warm, and then the hot dog cooks on the second cycle.
Fair enough.
I had to give that to you though.
Yep.
It's a hit.
I should put like a plaque with my name in front of it.
I will.
Prove it.
I actually need a picture of you for it.
So, all right, but it is time. You want to tell everybody what they can look forward to? Because I don't think we're going to be back till after the new year now.
Oh,
Next
no.
Wednesday is Christmas Day,
Oh yeah, we can't do that.
and then the following Wednesday is New Year's Day.
Oh well, we could just do Thursday
Yeah, I can maybe make next Thursday work.
or Friday.
Yeah, I got to figure out when we're going to Omaha.
We'll get back to you on that, but I am definitely down on any days except for the 25th and the 1st. So, this has been the Same as Beer podcast. Thank you so much for listening, not watching. That's my bad. I apologize. I'm going to throw my laptop in a fucking garbage disposal. Please subscribe or don't. It really doesn't matter. We're going to be here anyways. Any final words, Matt?
Um, don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff.
Unless you were into that, which, you know what? Sometimes I am. It's been nice talking to everybody.